Hello, my beloveds. So welcome to Everybody Yoga with Megan. I'm Megan, and today we are going to revisit some adrenal poses. So I talked yesterday that I recorded one and then deleted it and blah, 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 blah. But after talking with a few of you, it seems like we are all currently under quite a bit of stress. And that is anatomically our fight, flight, or freeze response, right? So maybe the heart rate is a little elevated, the throat feels a little tight, maybe you're picking up the energy of the world at large, maybe you have personal stress right now. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna come back into helping our adrenal glands. So they are in the neck. So you'll notice some throat poses. What typically happens when we feel stressed out, especially as Americans, is we go do something like a run or a power flow yoga class and get our heart rate up and get it out, and then we're just exhausted. And what we think we've done is used that energy. But what we've really done is kept the body in a prolonged state of concern. So we're gonna come into a more Eastern philosophy that when we feel really anxious, we do nothing. We let the body come back to center. So it's not really nothing, it's an active rest, and that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna begin in a supported forward fold. I'm gonna do it seated. You can do it standing. It is going to be intense if you do it seated. So this is the practice for blocks or pillows. So press pause, go get your shit, and come back. So I'm gonna get started in what's called caterpillar pose. And so the legs are gonna come out long. If you cannot sit comfortably like this, put a block or a pillow under your booty. The legs are hips distance, so 2 fists between the feet. And I love adrenal fatigue. I'm in it all the time. My body is always freaking out. So I'm gonna need 2 blocks because my ability to hang in this pose is very limited. So the blocks are gonna come close, and we're just gonna drop the forehead onto the blocks. We're just gonna breathe here. So if you're doing this practice first thing in the morning, this might be really uncomfortable. The hamstrings might be extra tight. The space between the shoulder blades might be really tender. And that's perfect. When we want to open is when we're cold, right? We want to know our true mobility. Not the mobility of a 100-degree heated room, not the mobility after an hour of cycling, our true mobility. Whoa. So, I've been talking about that book, Sapiens, and they talk about the fact that historical man did not actually have as much fight, flight, or freeze as modern man. That we make up these stories that they were always in fear of lions chasing them or of running out of food, and there's just no evidence to prove that. If you can try to go one little bit deeper. I hate this pose. So you probably can't hear me. I'm talking to my boobs right now. Slowly roll up. So historically, the hunter-gatherers that were our ancestors hunted and gathered from 3 to 6 hours a day. And then after that, they enjoyed community time and time with their family. somewhere along the way we thought money was important, and now people work 10 and 12 hours a day, and our bodies are not meant for that. They're really not. Okay, coming onto our back now, taking your block or pillows with you. We're going to come in to restorative bridge. And we want the blocks at a height that is restful. So we're not doing biggest best, okay? If you're doing biggest best, you're defeating the point of the practice. Of today's practice, not the practice in general. So this concept that our bodies were not made for the amount of stress of the modern world is fascinating to me. And I think that's why we have more obesity and disease than our ancestors did. There's actually some research that the diseases we know of, like smallpox and measles, that all actually came to be when we became static, when we built communities and we didn't know how to clean them or properly dispose of waste, or those kinds of things. We started domesticating animals instead of just killing them and eating them. It's really fascinating to look at how our current stress levels are when we're actually more actualized potentially than our ancestors, but they actually had something more figured out than we do, right? It was that time together was important, and that they needed enough to sustain themselves. They did not need a surplus. And then not needing a surplus allowed for less anxiety. It's really an interesting historical point of view. You can choose to stay here or straighten the legs for just a few breaths to get into the psoas. Again, if this is very stressful on your body, don't do it. Today's practice is not about stress. And if sitting still invokes stress in you, that means you need it even more. There's some other Eastern philosophies that I've started implementing. I have super bad allergies. You might not know that I've had like 2 sinus surgeries and asthma and blah, 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 blah. And so every day I take this nasal spray to dry out my sinuses. But then every day my sinuses don't want to be dry because they're not meant to be dry entirely, so they produce more. So then I need more spray. Then I need, it's this really vicious cycle. And I was reading that in the Ayurvedic tradition, you actually put oil inside the nose when you have too much mucus. So you give the body the lubrication it's creating, so it doesn't feel like it has to keep creating it. That has managed my allergies more than any of these nasal sprays I've been on for 40 frickin' years. It's fascinating. All right, bend your knees if you straightened your legs. Pick up your hips, remove the block, pause here. So in our bridge pose, we have pressure on the neck, right? And that is where the adrenal glands live. Same thing in that forward fold. We were having the chin to the chest. So this is what we're focusing on here, is really gentle attention on the neck. We're gonna come to Supta Baddha Konasana now. Feet together, knees wide, one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Don't let this be stressful on the body. So if you need to put blocks under the knees, do it. Again, the point here is to settle. To just let your body be here. To not request anything of it other than rest. And I'm so sorry if you can hear my roommate. She is the most laughingest therapist I have ever heard through a wall. I don't know how joyful her clients are, but when I go to therapy, there's not laughing. So we're just settling here. We're going to come into legs up the wall. Another good pose for our adrenals is shoulder stand. But I'm very wary of offering that as a pose when I cannot see you to help protect your neck. So we're not going to do it. But anyways, if shoulder stand is in your practice, you've been trained appropriately, and you want to take that instead of legs up the wall, you can, but just know we're going to hold it for like 5 full minutes. But before we go there, we're going to just gently lift up. So lift your torso. We're going to take a couple of neck stretches. I'm going to face you so you can see me. So we're going to sit up nice and tall again. If you need to sit on a block or a pillow, do that. Drop your left ear to your left shoulder. Take your left hand to your left collarbone, right collarbone. Take your right hand to your left wrist. So you are pulling open the right side of the neck. As you're getting that opening, twist the chin towards the shoulder. That will relieve some of it. And then gently twist the chin towards the ceiling. That will tighten it. 2 more times. If your neck is nice and loose, you really might not feel this anywhere. But I feel like most of us have some tension. Lift the head back up, pause for a moment. Right ear to right shoulder, hang out there for just a moment. Right hand to left collarbone, left hand to right wrist. And then there's a gentle pulling down that's occurring. Twist your chin down and twist up. You can kind of start to feel where in the chest even it is. Take your twist down. The tension begins, right? Because it's not in the neck, it's actually in the chest and back. And the neck pays the price. It's kind of like knee pain is typically a result of other things with the ankles and the hips. And up. And come back to the center and lift up. If you'd like to take a couple shoulder rolls, do that. Right, everything is related. Our physical health is related to our mental health is related to our physical health, all the things. Take your blocks with you, come to a wall, or take shoulder stand. You want to get your booty up against the wall. If your hamstrings are super tight and this is incredibly painful, shimmy back a bit. You're going to bend the knees, press into the wall, lift your hips, put the block underneath, and then re-straighten. Arms can come by the side or rest on the belly. Our goal here is to just allow the reversal of blood flow. So gravity is going to help the blood from our feet and our legs pool in our hips. And because our hips are lifted by a block, it'll kind of help shuffle that blood towards the heart. Just helping the heart feel nourished, right? It doesn't have to work so hard right now to get to our toes. And when we're looking at our adrenal fatigue, as it relates to anxiety and worry and stress, giving the heart a little hug, oh, it's what it needs. And let's be very honest, I am not a doctor. I just know what the texts say. And I know what they say based on someone who translated them because I am not fluent in Sanskrit. So, you know, take it as you will. It's kind of like the Bible. right? I don't speak Hebrew, so I just have to trust the translation. Same thing with the yoga texts. And allow yourself to breathe in a way that feels nourishing to you. Sometimes if you're really stressed out, the best thing you can do is take 3 or 4 deep breaths and then let yourself shallow breathe, right? Just that natural, the body taking what it needs and letting go of what it doesn't kind of a thing. There's some conflicting research about how important carbon dioxide is to the body. We know that too much carbon dioxide kills us. That's real. But the natural exhalation process, there's a reason there's carbon dioxide there. And so holding a little bit of breath in for a moment or two is supposed to have a benefit according to some schools of thought. Some of that expired air. But you just do whatever feels calming to you. This is our final resting pose. If you are in official shoulder stand for this long, you're amazing. But go ahead and come to legs up the wall, Viparita Karani. There's no reason to add stress here. That's the antithesis of the goal of this practice. And as always, I will bring you back when it's time. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, making circles with the wrists and the ankles. Bend your knees so your feet are flat on the wall. Pick up your hips, remove your block. Let your back settle for a moment with your knees pressing into the belly, feet into the wall. And then just twist to one side for your fetal position. As you're ready, press yourself up to a simple seat, just however you're comfortable. I want us to pause for a moment here, acknowledging all that our body does to keep us safe, to protect us. Bring your right hand over your heart and then your left hand over your right. Just feel your heartbeat for a moment. Take your left hand around your throat and your right hand around your left. Just a gentle, energetic exchange for your adrenal glands, letting them know that they don't have to fight, they don't have to flee, and they don't have to freeze. Bring your hands to heart center. And the place in me that is in equanimity acknowledges that place in you. Together we say, Namaste. Thank you, my yogis. For those of you who are doing our 20-day workshop, you did it. Congratulations. There's always February if you missed it. And for those of you just in general YouTube land, always please like, subscribe, comment, share, and be blessed.